imagination and fantasy.
Yeah.
There's so much imagination, there's so much fantasy and flair. Imagination and flair. Lack a bit of imagination and fantasy. Imagination and fantasy.
Yeah.
There's so much imagination, there's so much fantasy and flair. Imagination and flair. Lack a bit of imagination and fantasy.
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome back to another special episode of the Sokkah podcast. And today, Trent, we're joined by an A-League cult icon, Marc Warren. Welcome to the pod.
Cheers, boys. Thank you. Nice little clap there. Nice.
Yeah. So, Marc has, an A-League cult status for some reason. And, like our previous guest, Riley Woodcock, he was a fullback for Perth Glory and Sydney, funnily enough, and another F45 manager. So, I think...
And he's left-footed, so...
And he's left-footed as well. So, I think we've found our special type of guest, fullbacks who played for Glory and Sydney and who are now F45 managers. So...
Yeah, I think we've run out of those, unfortunately, but...
So, Marc, obviously with coronavirus and everything, how's it going at F45 and how you adapt into all this isolation life, and how's things going in Sydney?
It's hard at the start, but we're quite lucky, and I'm sure Riley will find the same thing. We're still allowed to trade as a business. The guys who I'm involved with, they own 26 F45s, so we do run. A big group of us all together. We do help out in all of them. So, so we've gone to our online classes and things like that. And now, finally we're allowed to start our boot camps.
That's cool. That's sick.
Yeah. So we also talked to Riley, we'll ask him the same question because we want to know who's the better F45 manager, Riley Woodcock or Marc Warren. So Marc, how many push-ups can you do?
Oh, Riley's probably fitter than me, but I can talk the talk. Do you know what I mean?
That's what it's all about.
It's been my whole career in football, really. But he's. I don't know how many push-ups I can do, mate. I've just probably done a fair few just then in that session. But I've never counted. Can't count that high, mate.
I like it.
Now, before we started, you said you went for a run. How many Ks did you do just then?
We didn't do that many Ks. We just did a bit of a circuit in the gym. So we did some deadlifts, we did some rowers, kettlebell swings, some abs, some arms, did 5 rounds of that. And then we just went for probably 2 Ks. Okay, run, just a little sprinter.
Just the one?
Just the one, mate. That's all I can get out now.
Now, what kind of times are you posting now? Just curiously.
Per kilometre.
Times?
Yeah, time-wise.
Per kilometre. We probably did that. I don't know. I was too busy breathing out my ass, really. We probably did that in a couple of minutes there.
Yeah, not bad.
Give or take, I don't know, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on,
No, you go, Trent.
No, Joe. I do like the current kit you're wearing. What can you tell me what it is?
I forgot about our sponsors. So I'm wearing I'm wearing an old Leicester City top from back in the day. I think early 2000s. Trent, and you're wearing a nice Wolverhampton Wanderers top.
This is so nice, and I think it's quite new. It's their Le
Could be a recent one.
Sportif. It's quite
Trent,
nice.
I've ever seen in my life.
But Trent, how did we get these kits? Who gave them to us?
We got them from Vintage Sokkah Shirts Australia. So check them out, our official sponsor. Promo code Sokkah, SOKKAH at the checkout for 10% off. Big ups to Vintage Sokkah Shirts.
And Trent, I hear you need to stream an event. Is this true?
Joe, you have heard correct. Streamgate Australia, our other official sponsor, is a premium live streaming service in Australia. If you want to monetize an event, pay-per-view subscription, lots of different features. Streamgate, they're 5 minutes from Sydney. Marc, you can check them out if you ever want to live stream an event.
I need that, mate.
Yeah. Now, Marc, me and
Yes.
you, we've actually met before in the past. Now, I'll see.
Really?
I'll see if you remember this.
Where was I?
I'm not sure if you remember this, but it was a late night in Subiaco.
There you go.
I remember, I was waiting outside the 7-Eleven, waiting for an Uber, and I see someone coming out of the 7-Eleven with a pack of darts, and I'm like, "Is that Marc Warren?" And I was like, "Wazza." So you came over, we had a chat and everything. You offered me a cigarette, and I was like, "Nah, I'm okay, mate." But the funny thing was, this was pre-season, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, Marc, was like blackmailing you. I was like, Marc, like, be careful. Like, I might tell Kenny and all that. And you're like, nah, don't worry, mate. He's fine with it. So like,
it wasn't me.
yeah, it was just another guy that goes by Wazza.
That's it. It wasn't. Yeah, mate. I don't remember that. So
Shit.
I've got nothing to say about that one.
Joe, I don't know if it was pre-season. Maybe it was
I
off-season.
can't remember.
It's a lifetime ago. It's probably some of the things that I should be doing now rather than playing football.
So like, off memory, I think you said you're at Armani Bar. Like, did you go there regularly when you were in Perth?
I have been there a couple of times. I know what kind of state it would have been in as well.
No, like you were very talkative that night, and I remember like the next week, that's like all I could talk about to my mates. I was like, "Guess who I bumped into in Subiaco?"
I'm a talkative kind of guy, mate. You know, I can talk.
Marc, when you were in Perth, did you go to Jack Rabbit Slims? Because that was at the time very popular.
No comment.
Okay. Maybe in the off season.
Oh, a couple of times in the off season, I reckon I got dragged. Yeah, didn't want to go. By far, but you know.
Wasn't Adam Taggart dragging you there, was it?
Oh, I don't know, mate.
He was quite a regular there when he was back in Perth.
Only rumours though. Only rumours that he was.
Only rumours, yeah. I don't know, mate. I couldn't tell you. I was straight up and down the line. That one.
Yeah, just have a doppelganger.
Training.
Came out wrong, that one. Good.
Oh, shit. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit of football.
Yeah, go
on. So
when
you were...
Yeah, cheers, Marc.
That's a bit long there. Now, you were involved with the AIS and then also the New South Wales Institute of Sport. Is that right?
Yeah.
So how was that? So you had the New South Wales one first?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how was that sort of experience and how did you sort of get into that originally?
It was like my first taste of like football, full-time training. So I was probably about 15 and funny enough, probably about 3 months or less than that before that time of N-Swiss, I was actually playing striker. Yeah, so I remember a coach that I had at school, we had like a little state titles tryouts. And he's honestly said to me, "You're going to be playing left back." And I just laughed it off. And then I think I started to get my little anger streak. And then, 3 months later, mate, I was playing at the state titles for New South Wales as a left back. And then after those state titles, 2 weeks later, we all the boys pretty much in that New South Wales team went to N-Swiss. We pretty much stayed together all the way through the Joeys to the under-20s World Cup. So it was pretty much mostly the same team with give or take like Trent Sainsbury and players like that from Perth and Melbourne. And yeah, so we were actually really lucky to stay together throughout the whole time in the AOS and stuff like that as well.
Because then after that, you got signed by Central Coast, is that right?
Yeah, so I went to AIS and then I was probably one of the only players that didn't have a club from the AIS. You had like BJ Hamill going to Melbourne Heart, Trent and Woosty went to Central Coast. Top of my head, can't really think too much. Brent, there was a few boys going to Sydney FC and things like that. Yeah. So I came back to Sydney and then, lucky through all my contracts, even the A-League, it's just who I've known. So we knew Kenny Lowe, Sydney FC, we knew Frank Farina. So it says a lot about my career, doesn't it? We actually had someone in contact with Graham Arnold who then just said, come for a trial. And then 2 days later, I signed.
So the Socceroos door is still open for you then?
Sorry?
So the Socceroos call is still a possibility for you with Arnie being there?
Yeah, maybe to go and have a couple of beers with him.
Yeah.
Now, Marc, I've interviewed Trent Sainsbury on another podcast, and he said at the AIS, it was really competitive. Like, as you said, a lot of the boys were getting those contracts. And when the first boys were getting them, training was everyone was out to kill each other because they just really wanted Like, how was it like? Did you have an agent at the time, like offers coming in and stuff like that? Well, for other boys as well.
I had early on, because I actually broke my foot at the AIS, so I had quite a lot of time out. So early on, before that happened, I had an offer to go to Germany and Scotland, but then I just didn't really want to go. I was 17, 18. My head was probably screwed on more than it was when I was playing football, but I really wanted to stay in Australia, play in the A-League, and just live at home. And then, so when the boys started to do it, I started to get contracts. I was still a little bit injured. So, it was a bit of a hard thing to take, but when I came back, it was, all guns blazing, mate.
Yeah.
So once you got signed by Central Coast, you and Trent Sainsbury went on trials to Sheffield United in England. Is that right?
Yeah. So me and Trent, we were living together, and then the bosses come up to us and said, "You guys going to England? First one, you guys are the first one to go with the relationship." We're like, "Yeah, righto, sweet." So we went, and Sheffield United, they signed me instead of Trent.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
They signed me instead of Trent. But looking back on it, mate, I was half decent at 18, 19.
Because I was looking at your stats. Like, you have quite a few. Like, you have heaps of appearances for like the Joeys and like all the Australian youth teams.
Yeah, mate. It all comes. I'm sure this will, as this conversation goes on, it'll all come out anyway. It was more so my career was the choices that I made weren't very good ones.
Yeah.
So I went to England. I was really played in the World Cup for Australia in the under-20s, and then just some personal choices that I made in England just kind of set myself for a downhill spiral. I had times in the A-League where I was great, but I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth.
Now, like,
in Sheffield, go Joe, because you've been to Sheffield, Joe.
Yeah, sorry. I was in Sheffield last year for Christmas, and awesome place. There's hills everywhere, so much like green, scenic hills and woods everywhere. Like, what did you get to experience, like living in Sheffield, and like, what did you think of it?
I know where this is going. Look,
Actually, you don't.
Mate, it's a beautiful place. You've got obviously the part like Gosnells, so it's a part where it's a bit rough, and then you've got a beautiful part.
Yeah, I think I only saw the beautiful part because I was there for like 3 days.
I lived in a place called Dore, and that was a really nice place. That was our digs, and we lived with a lady. She was, beautiful lady, did everything for us, and again, my choices of going out all the time, I ended up leaving. And
right. So was that just like were you living on your own, or were you living like with some of the other boys at Sheffield?
When I moved out?
Yeah.
No, I was living with another friend of mine.
Is that in Sheffield?
That was in Sheffield, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So now,
Sheffield, how was like the
you guys know.
How was the sort of were you like seriously off the pace in terms of the boys in England there, or was it like really eye-opening? Or were you quite close to them in sort of training? And so how was that sort of?
I was good. I was probably one of the young ones in the reserves team that was training with the first team all the time.
Yeah,
cool. Got on with them really well. Sheffield actually wanted to keep me, but I wanted to play first team football. They said, "Here's your contract." When I left, here's your contract. We'll give you another 2 years, and then I got an offer to go to Burton Albion. So with that offer, I accepted my offer. I got on the plane to come to Australia, and when I landed, my phone went off, and the manager signed his assistant coach, which wanted his left back, and that was me gone.
Bastards.
Yeah, so that's when I ended up going to Scotland.
Yeah, because we've interviewed a few people who like played in like the lower divisions in like England, but no one from like Scotland yet. How was that whole experience? And I don't know, because
absolutely.
When I think of like Scotland, it's like haggis, freedom, and like what's Scotland like? Because like,
Well, that's where my kind of massive mental case went down.
yeah, okay.
I was training with a team called Airdrie, which was about half an hour outside of Glasgow. And then we were training part-time because they're one of the clubs when Rangers got relegated, went up.
Okay.
So were they in the? Is that second division of Scotland or the first?
We were in the first division, so we weren't playing against Celtic in that. We're playing in their, not their Premier.
Yeah, okay.
The first one, yeah. So we were training part-time, so I can't remember the exact days, but we're training evenings. So I had nothing to do all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I had nothing to do all day. I was on £200 a week. So I went from Sheffield United to there to go on to Scotland. And it was just like, bit of a, it was cold. You walk down the street at 10 o'clock in the morning, people on the drink.
It's bizarre that you're training part-time.
Well, it's a part-time club. They didn't have they had the facility. They didn't have the resources and things like that for a full-time gig.
Yeah, right.
So it was a bit of a shocker, to be honest. And then CFC came. So that was good. I just went, see you later.
Yeah. So like, how did that move eventuate? Like, did you get a call from who was the coach at the time? I can't remember. Was it like, hey, Marc, come to Sydney? Like, how did the move take place? Like, did your agent get involved, or like what happened there?
Mate, to be honest, I had agents, but they did nothing for me, and I hope they see this as well. They did nothing for me. It was, we knew Frank Farina. I wanted to come back to Australia. Frank, I want to come home. Have you got a spot available? And then he wanted to get rid of their left back. He said, yeah, sweet, no worries, and he come.
Yeah. Too easy. Because that was in 2013. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I know, we've spoken to some players that had agents, and some of them can do really good things for you and find you really good places. But for the place you went in Scotland, was that through your agent?
That was through another friend of mine that was working as an agent, but took nothing off me. Just said, look, you need to keep playing. Here you go.
Yeah. Okay.
But man, I'd love to open the conversation of players are the best thing for players, not agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's even a massive conversation, especially in England with the Premier League, how agents are just the worst kind of person. You see with for example, Paul Pogba, and his manager is always I won't say and everything like that. But there's some bad apples which ruin the reputation, I would say, for the player agents.
Yeah, there's some that are just just money hungry fiends, mate. But
because
everyone's obviously money hungry to some point.
Yeah.
But I've had more advice. I've had more understanding about the world and about football and about money from, say, Dino Djulbic and Reece Williams than I have from anyone else.
Shout out to Dino, by the way. Massive fan.
Mate, he's one of my best mates. I speak to him all the time.
I was going through your Instagram the other day, and I saw you guys having a beer together.
He's one of my best mates. I speak to him, once or twice a week.
Yeah.
If not, he's one of those guys that you won't speak to for a month. Then you call him and go, "What are you doing, you dickhead?" He's one of them. He's a great bloke. Richie Garcia as well. What a man! What a guy.
Yeah.
They're just good people, and they're the people you need to surround yourself with. I played at Sydney FC with Richie as well, and when I was coming to the end of my time there, I'm like, "Man, I've had enough. I'm out." And me being young, and I'm just like, I'll go and get a job being a Sparky or do something like that. I'm really lucky with the job I have now. I keep fit, keep mentally stimulated to a point, but you'd always miss that football. It's the best thing for you. It's the best thing in the world. But obviously through me, I've come to and it's taken me, I've been out of the game for 2.5 years, 3 years now. And it's taken me probably 3 years to get over it. Not really get over it, but just kind of understand it happened because of the choices I made. And obviously, we might come to it again later on, but the people in the last club that I was at that could have helped a little bit. But yeah, but it was mostly my choices.
Yeah, because like we've had like similar conversations with like previous guests, and that like once they come out of like the A League and like they're like, what do I do now? And like obviously like it's awesome that like you've like got your job at like F45 and everything, but like there needs to be like a framework that I don't know, maybe the PFA should provide.
Yeah,
that says
well,
like
okay, helped me immensely.
Right.
You know, they've put me like I've gone to see people. They've paid for it. They've done everything. You don't understand how much they do and what they can do for you until it's too late.
Yeah, because we've spoken to a few players who like I think they moved overseas. I forgot who it was, but they've moved overseas at like a young age, and like they didn't know like the PFA had all these resources which could help them, and then like these Aussies, like they're young, they're living overseas by themselves, and like they just mentally like they like crumble because like there's
mate, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So like
they help. They have once every 6 months they have a development day. They have guest speakers. They have psychologists. They have stories from people, and they fly me out to wherever it is all the time. One was in Sydney. They flew me to Melbourne, the last one, and I'm just happy to sit there and listen and talk to people about my story.
Yeah. For sure. I think because even psychology in football, I think is a really under sort of tapped.
Yeah, you need
field
it.
When
you need it. You need it. It's that high strung, and if you're not playing, you're in trouble.
That's
and
it. Yeah.
If you're not straight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're in trouble. If you're off with the fairies and thinking next contract, the next one, it doesn't come. The contract doesn't come. You know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And you know, I've as much as I'd love to stay in the football game, that I've got like there's just I do so many things for people and so much like different than what people have done. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, my last thing at Perth, they flicked me because I wasn't playing, and I had a bit of like I was going downhill mentally, and they've just gone, here's a payout, see you later.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so I think a lot of clubs nowadays, especially A-League clubs, especially have like a psychologist and, you know, someone that can help players out. And I think, because I'm speaking to a friend who's like studying psychology and wants to get into football, and he thinks like it's a really growing market, like, because, you know,
Mate,
football clubs, even in England.
The clubs have got them.
Yeah.
We started to have one at Perth my last year. The clubs have got them, but it's not, you know, it's like a checklist. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like,
Okay.
This is our football curriculum. This is this is that. And we have a psychologist if you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like, and then someone goes, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. Then you need it. Instead of going, okay, like, Marc, come and have a chat with me. Let's go for a coffee. Let's go for a beer. Let's just have a chat. Let me get to know you and what I can see, what I can tell. Because if you don't, like, it's the same with anything, man. You need to know your people. If you don't know that's what Kenny Lowe was the best at. He knew his people.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we'll just jump ahead quickly, but we'll jump back to the glory. So when playing with now the NPL, do you feel like, obviously it's a good level in Australia, but it's not, obviously it's completely different to professional football.
Yeah.
Do you still have that, like, the love for playing, or you said you lost quite a lot when you jumped from the A-League to an NPL club?
I think you just have to get over the fact that you're not playing A-League anymore.
Yeah.
The thing that is the hardest is training at night.
Yeah.
After a massive day of doing 4,000 burpees.
Yeah.
But that's the hardest thing. But I think I'm at a really good club where the president's been there since I was 5.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean? So he's an unbelievable bloke. You do everything for him and for the club. Like, I coach the under-10s team. They let me coach as well. But yeah, no, I really enjoy it. The club's great. They do a lot for me, and we've got a lot of plans going forward. So yeah.
That's awesome. We'll get to your under-10s team because this interests me. What kind of tactics do you get them to play? What's your win percentage? Do you rock up to games wearing a suit? What's the deal there?
Smoking a suit. No. Mate, I want them to have fun. I don't have any. Obviously, my sessions that I plan, I wish I had my book, is I'm like the way I'm training.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'd give them instructions the way I would to you, but obviously without the swearing.
Yeah.
And you know, game day, I rock up probably on a Sunday morning
with a little bit of a headache.
I've been there, Marc. I coached a team on a Sunday before.
You know, rock up. No, I coach with one of my best mates. So he's there. He's getting right into it. And, you know, it's just the kids having fun. We lost 2 games last year. Just to let you know.
It's not bad.
There you go. There you go. Is coaching like 11 aside, like under 13s and up, something you want to do? Since now you've coached under 10s, or do you like sort of the young age?
Sure. Yeah. I love to do it. I think, yeah, for sure. I do enjoy it. I think you've got to be a special. You got to be a special person. You need to have the time to be able to do it. You know, we're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I get home at 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
So if you have a job where you're able to, you know, work early, go home, sleep, relax, and give your all, because I just started to find, you know, once. Even with training, I need to find a kind of happy medium where I can go home, relax, because I'm not giving my all at training, you know. And that's something that I realise now rather than realising when I'm playing A-League. Like, it's unbelievable.
So, like, now with coaching,
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
So, like, now with coaching, are you looking into like maybe getting your coaching badges and like developing like that side like of football?
Yeah, for sure. And the PFA have helped me with that, and it's been 2.5 years.
PFA are doing God's work, it sounds like.
They are. They're like, Bo Bush is unbelievable. He called me the other day just to say hello. Like,
no, it's awesome that they're doing that, and like they're being proactive about like reaching out to players and everything. Like, because like as like fans, like we know nothing about like what they do, but like obviously now like they just like help out so much behind the scenes.
Oh, mate, what do you need? Do you need anything? Are you going through a hard time? Do you need funds? Do you need, like, they help. They do everything for us, and no one appreciated it until you've hit rock bottom and you don't know what you're going to do. You know, and I hope no one hits that stage. But yeah, mate, they help. They're unbelievable. They're bigger than the clubs.
Yeah, that like says a lot, especially like in the A-League. Yeah. I just got one question about Sydney, because I'm Italian. I'm a massive Del Piero fan. What was he like? What was he like day in, day out at Sydney? I just had to ask that.
I sat next to him in the change room.
What did he smell like?
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Honey.
that's what I want to hear.
Cash. Mate, he was obviously a bit intimidating, like going sit next to old mate.
Yeah,
but,
like he's my hero. Yeah, I've got.
Yeah. So it was good. It was, you know, I taught him how to swear.
I love that.
He was a good bloke, you know. He took us all to Italy for a trip. Pre-season tour. Yeah, he was a good bloke. Like, good experience, you know, going over there and seeing him in his hometown.
That's awesome.
That's
now,
awesome.
after Sydney, you were up here like up for a bit, and then the big move to Perth came.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that was under Kenny Lowe, was that right? He was the coach the whole time?
Yeah.
Now, this was when Glory were going through a funny period, because it seemed like they were going through the same cycle every season. It was like a slow start.
Yeah. Can I explain it? I'll explain it.
Trent can
Because
go
a lot of Glory, like, so the 2 years you were there, we like made the finals. So your first year we got knocked out, second year we made the next stage. But we started really slow. And like a lot of Glory fans, me included, we just had this like idea that the team was unfit, and by the middle of the year we were fit and firing, and then like the middle of the year to the end we were like unbeaten most of the time. Is that like, was it? We just looked at it like the team was unfit. Like, was that what like was preseason? Was it bad? Like, what was your like idea about that?
I think it was just, we weren't unfit. We were fit. It's just getting like, right. So here's an example. Right? I just became a golf member at a golf club. I've been playing really well, but as soon as the competition starts, I turn to shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's more so just getting used to the stadium, my feeling. This is my feeling.
Yeah.
Getting used to the stadium, competition, and then all of a sudden you go, okay, here's a rhythm. Let's go. And you keep that rhythm from your game, you take it to training. Training evolves again to the next game. It's just getting your rhythm. And, that's what I believe anyway. That's my...
Yeah, right. Do you think like more preseason games would have like helped in a sense? Like
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
So
but it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because we don't probably play enough preseason games against A-League opposition.
Yeah, it's hard. It's the hardest thing. I think now the clubs have become independent. Do you know what I mean? So I went to Perth for that mini World Cup thing. And I bumped into Seiji. And Seiji was there going, we're independent with this, for that. And now the funds can just go, right, let's go. You don't have anyone else telling you what to do. So hopefully it helps the club. And Seiji's, I love Seiji.
Yeah.
Good owner, quality.
He was actually about to, we were about to interview him, but then like Corona came and like...
Yeah. Seiji's quality.
Get him off. Yeah, like we're hoping to get him on soon.
Yeah, Seiji's quality.
Like we'll get to that, like, because that was like the mini world, like it was like a 6-a-side World Cup, and that was in Perth.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get the call up for that? And like, how was your like whole experience with that?
Well, I know the coach.
Good.
I know the coach. I grew up with him. Yeah, that's it. He just said to me, he just called me about 2 weeks before it, and he goes, "You want to come back to Perth and play?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sweet."
Too easy.
Now, did you play? Did Brad Bartel? Do you know Brad Bartels?
Yeah. Brad,
did you play with them at Appia?
No, him for kids. Went to school together.
Oh, right. Because interesting. Because I at Curtin here in Perth. Because he studied at Curtin online, right? And we went to uni games in Gold Coast to play football. And so he lives in Sydney, obviously. But he would be actually played with our Curtin team from Perth in the uni games, and he won. He got in like the gold medal team for that tournament, which was pretty funny. Like, yeah, I know him.
I went to school with Brad.
Oh, really? He's such a good bloke, eh?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Bit of firecracker. Good fun.
Oh shit. Now when you're at Glory,
yep.
So the elimination final versus City the first year, so the 2-0 loss.
I know where you're going at now.
That's when Bruno Fornaro.
No, it's actually Joe might be going somewhere with this. Joe,
are you going about that thing?
What's happening?
Yeah,
Joe showed me a photo before the podcast.
Oh, this is the Aaron Moy thing. It's good Mark knows.
I wasn't going there, but Joe, I wasn't going there.
We're going to close the laptop on you too.
I've got the photo up if you want to see it.
We'll show our viewers.
That one there?
Hold on.
Oh god! But my thing is, so obviously the first year we got knocked out by City, but the year after we beat them 2-0. Was the second season, that Melbourne City game, was it playing in your mind the year before, or was it completely new, completely different?
I go to the game. What happens to the game? See you later.
Yeah, right. Because a lot of people think like there's you think about so much more than the games before and things like that.
No. Oh, you do, but I never thought me being a ballerina would be in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it never was. Like I look at my time at Perth as I was working in a warehouse. We made the FFA Cup Grand Final.
Yeah. We
made the finals of the A-League.
Twice.
We did the same the year after, and then I broke my ankle. I've done good.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
Good English. Sorry. I've done I'm quite happy with what I did there. It was just once I broke my ankle, once I did everything in my ankle, after which, mental illness, about, your depression of not playing, things like that. That's the things that ruined me.
For sure. Well, no, I think you gained a great respect from the Glory supporters, and like the 2 years that you were at the club, my dad's your biggest fan.
That was unbelievable.
No, but like you did, and the 2 years, like those 2 years, we were, obviously we would have been, we would have loved to have gone further, but I think the 2 years the Glory did really well. Now, Joe, we are on 2 minutes left in our Zoom.
I'll invite you to another Zoom call, and then we got some Twitter Q&As, and we need to share that to our Patreon. So
no worries, mate.
We'll end this one, then I'll send you another invite.
Cool.
Done. Sweet, mate.
Easy.
Yeah, we're recording now.
All right. Now, Mark, I want to ask you about Nebo Mirinkovic. Were his free kicks that good in training?
Yeah.
Because he was just like, for us, for the fans, man, he was insane.
They were either pinpoint, top corner, or they were going to Morley.
So did he practice them a lot at like just after training? And
Yep, after training.
yeah, damn, that's sick.
Like you've actually mentioned quite a few Perth suburbs like Gosnells and Morley. What's your favourite Perth suburb? Just out of curiosity.
I lived in East Perth.
Nice suburb.
Oh,
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I lived there. I lived in East Perth the first year, and the second year, and the other year. So I was there 3 years. I was living across the road from NIB.
Oh, beautiful.
All right.
So you know where? Oh, what side was that? There's a big apartment. The apartment buildings.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I know. Yeah, what side you're talking about.
Eco apartments. I was living there, and I'd leave there on game day to walk
You
to
could
the
just
thing.
walk. That's
And
ideal.
people were walking past, and just looking at me, going, "Fucking, what's he doing here?" The stopover house.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you could have had pre's like before a game with like all the players. Essentially.
All the time, man. All the time. We were absolutely plastered most of the time.
Oh, shit. All right. Joe, do you want to get into our Twitter questions?
We'll get into our Patreons first. So, guys, if you're listening,
right.
our Patreon is how you support the podcast. We have different subscription tiers from $2 to $10. So far, we have 18 of you guys. So some of the benefits are you can gain access to our Discord chat. And this week, the chat's been going off. We've got like a thing now where everybody sends like what they're having for lunch in. And
Yeah.
it's just funny. And one of those benefits are you get a shout out in each episode. So the people we are giving shout outs to are Andrea, Andy Tin, Ben Krizik, Ben Robson, Craig Richards, David Clark, Dennis Fernandez, Fraser Marnham, Glenn Oliviero, Harry Russell, Jacob Colangelo, John Morris, Jordan Smith, Jordan Waters, Luke Kelly, Natasha Williams, and Taylor Morris. Cheers, guys, for being part of the Patreon family.
Thank you for supporting the show. All right. Now,
Cheers.
we've got some Twitter questions, Mark. And Joe, do you want to start off?
Okay, so we have a question. It's not really a question, but
We'll have to answer all of them, though.
We're going to pick the we're going to pick the good ones.
We pick the good ones, yeah. So we got one from Chicken Treat Fan Club. He says, "Hey Mark, no question here, mate. Just wanted to say love you and Godspeed for your current and future endeavours."
That was nice. It's a good one to start with.
This is a good one to start.
Downhill from here.
No, it won't be.
Like to hit.
Magic Miller says, who is a better F45 trainer, Riley Woodcock or yourself?
As I said before, Riley's probably fitter, but I can talk your ear off.
Good. You got to be persuasive.
This isn't a Twitter question.
Mate. If you're not persuasive, you don't get the sale. You don't get the sale. You don't get the cash.
That's right.
So we mentioned this to Riley because what's his name? Like the Hollywood actor, I forgot his name. He's in
Mark
Transformers. Because Mark Warren, he's like a big shareholder in F45. Have you met him or like have you been in like a Zoom meeting with him or?
He's one of the boys. No, I haven't.
He's just off camera.
Yeah, he's over there. He's setting a few off over there.
Oh shit!
All right. We also have
probably shouldn't be in the gym.
We also have a question from John. He says, "Is it true one of your best mates at Glory was Diego Castro, and do you still keep in touch with him today?"
Yeah, I was close to him. I haven't. I was another one to teach him how to swear as well. I haven't spoken to him for a while, no, but it was like we would always go for a cuppa after training and things like that. So I guess it was one of the people who you just get along with and you just go, come on, let's go for a coffee.
Yeah.
I can speak to a big war mate and make sense, so it's all right.
That's it.
So now, Trent, we have one more question for Mark.
We've got two more. We've got two more.
One's
One's more of a statement, but one's good. This one from Oscar Brotherson. He asks, how much difference is there between NPL and A-League in terms of ability and skill level? Are there young players who could make it at the higher level or the NPL club struggling to produce young quality talent?
I think I know who that Oscar is.
Oh,
I think I've got him on Facebook or something. I think. I'm pretty
alright.
sure. Uh, sorry, in my mind, then I was just talking about how much I know him. So,
So the
repeat that one.
difference between A-League and
Yeah,
A-League and
there's
NPL.
a massive difference in terms of not wanting to play football. It's always it's the same as the football desire, but just it's as easy as full-time training, money, and who you know. That's the difference. Yeah, it's in terms of mate. There's players in the NPL who are way better than some of the players in the A League.
Yeah.
Way better.
But like they just don't have the opportunity.
They haven't got the opportunity. They don't know the right people. It's the same thing, man. They don't know. If you know people, you go through. Like perfect example, like Tommy Rogic, Massimo Luongo didn't go through the football mainstream, and now look at them. Do you know what I mean? Like some of these kids haven't gone through and just haven't got an opportunity to go to get there. Haven't got like, oh, you know what? I know this kid is good. Bring him in. Like they don't know the people, and that's the thing about Australian football. There's not enough leagues. There's not enough opportunity.
Yeah. There's not enough training. There's enough games being played. Yeah.
There's nothing. But you know what? We're doing good. The people who are there obviously deserve to be there. And yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now, this is from Lincoln Bertelli. This is quite funny. He says, when you played for Glory versus Phoenix in Auckland, if you can remember this, did you dare to dream that your beautiful cross was going in before Glenn Moss tipped it over the bar? do you remember this?
That was going in. That was, I was going like this. I was ready to, yeah, that was in, mate. I'm telling you.
We need to get a video of that and put it at the end of the video. Oh, shit.
Oh, man, I wish that was. That's the only regret I've got, I reckon. I didn't score a goal in the game.
Yeah.
I would have.
You came, actually, you know what? You came close once. I remember this. It was.
Against Central Coast.
Yeah, there was against. I remember there was a commentator. It was David Bashir. It was on SBS. It might have been against Melbourne City, and you had a shot from outside the box, and I think keeper tipped it over. But he said that you're known for your long range shooting, which really I never thought you were, and you had this long shot. He's like, Marc Warren known for his long range shooting. I was like, oh, David Bashir.
Full of shit. I'll see if I've got this picture, this video. Actually, my boss now sent me. Here it is. I got it here. He just sent me a video, and he goes, "Here he is. This is a shot from me playing for Sydney FC against Western Sydney. See if you can you see this?
Yeah, we can see it.
Kind of see it. Look, it was me kicking someone." And I've done that, right? And then one of it was a shot. I think he sent me the video of a shot as well. Like, look at me little bald head running. Oh, there it is there.
Oh, damn. This is very shaved.
Yeah, oh, no, it wasn't that one there. He sent me that, and then, afterwards, what does he say after? And he goes, you had a ping from about 1,000 metres out after a corner. I'm like, yeah, nearly went for a throw-in, didn't it? No, I'll still get stupid messages from him. Don't worry about that.
Well, David Bashir thinks you've got a good long range shot. So there you go.
No, he's probably the only one. Can he give me a deal?
We'll ask him. Is there one more question here?
Joe,
this is a good one. David Winkler, he says, your memories, if any, of the 2015 FFA Cup semi-final versus Melbourne City at Perth Oval. That was the night you gained many a fan with a close to, if not, best on ground performance.
Oh, nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mate, like, I enjoyed... What you get from me is what you see, really. I'll have a beer with fans. I speak to fans. I'm just like... And that's probably a downfall of mine as well, where, I really don't care. I'm just a normal bloke. Like, just want to have a beer, want to have a laugh and enjoy myself, but also, take football by the balls, which unfortunately I couldn't do that at the time. But I really enjoyed my time playing, and I've come out a wiser person, I think. Yeah,
for sure. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah,
All right, boys?
I think that could be all of our questions. Marc, it's been awesome having you on. I think this has probably been if like one of our best episodes, if not like the most fun we've had with one for sure. Before we go, did you want to shout out anyone or plug F45 or anything of the sort before we head?
Oh, mate, I think it's just you boys, really. I think it's good trying to get in touch with people who have played and who have a little bit of knowledge of life after football. Just so I hope players actually see this and they go, fuck, was I listening to this bloke ramble on? But it's about giving, not necessarily giving back, but just giving opinions of what you can do while you're playing and what actually happens after.
Yeah, an
Do you know what I
insight
mean? I'm
into
really
it.
lucky I've got here, but it's also, man, I could be in a ditch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's whatever we can do as a football community, yourselves, everyone, whatever we can do to benefit young people to move forward in football, to move forward in life and stay sane, we're doing the right thing. So from what you guys are doing, man, well done.
No, we appreciate
Thanks,
that, Marc. Yeah, awesome having you on. And yeah, everybody, that was episode, I don't know what episode number we're up to now, 30, around that.
Episode
everyone.
Wazza.
Episode Wazza.
Wazza.
Episode Wazza. That's the episode title already locked in.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys.
Thanks
If
for coming on,
you're up
Marc.
to hearing the video, cheers for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know, like all that kind of thing. But yeah, that was Marc Warren.
Ciao.
Have a good day.
Cheers, guys.
Ciao.